Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Hello. Hello, hello. Good evening.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello. We'll just take a moment. I'm going to play a song and then we'll drop in and get started. Welcome. If you want, you can get some water or tea, grab your book, your journal. Thank you. Running 20 by the sea, and my legs dancing wildly. But nostalgic thoughts make a young babe crazy. When I get lost, I just turn on Wazy. She always knows which way to take me. Basking naked where the sun rays hit me. Yellow sea around me. If I drop the beat, will you sing with me? If I drop the beat, will you sing with me? If I drop the beat, will you sing with me? Yellow sea around me. Yellow sea around me. Yay. Welcome. Welcome, welcome everyone. It's so fun to be with you on it's actually my birthday on Sunday. So March 7th, but it's, officially my birthday weekend and I had a really nourishing day. I got to hike and then walk and then lay outside. I realized I just like being outside. So I'm really, really happy to be with you all tonight and to be together and also to just celebrate and also explore how we're moving this work forward. So in a moment, we'll drop in, but I invited folks to share in the chat where you're here from. I accidentally didn't give you a hyperlinked nativeland.ca, but I will in a second. And how are you? So you can drop where you're here from and maybe 2 words. My 2 words would be calm, calm and happy. So let me see if I can grab this. Yes. So one of the things that I share at the end of the book is a best practice. And it's really just the beginning of a best practice. It's not the end of the best practice, but the best practice of acknowledging the land that we're on. And as we, in the meditation, we'll take some time to drop in and really acknowledge where we're here from. But when I say where I am in the world, which is on Seminole and Timucua land, unceded, and it's been colonized as Orlando, Florida, there's a way that I'm acknowledging the history and the unfinished nature of that history, that it's not just as simple as where I am now, and that is what it's always been. And so that's why I dropped the link, native-land.ca, which is just a jumping off point. So it's a place to explore if you haven't, to learn what land you're on. And welcome as you're coming in. So if you would like to drop where you're here from and anything about how you're doing today. Thank you for the birthday love. Elated and excited. Nice. Okay. And I will invite the bell. Tongva in Kiz land, enthused and open. Wonderful. All right, so wherever you are, you can settle in and find an easeful way to be. And that might be sitting, might be standing, you might be walking or driving. If you're walking or driving, stay focused, keep your eyes open. If you would like and you feel comfortable, you can gaze at a spot in front of you and let your eyes kind of go soft focused, or if you prefer, you can gently close your eyes. And I love to invite the bell as a way to help myself resettle and kind of come right into this moment. Breathing in, aware of your in-breath, and breathing out, aware of your out-breath. In and out. If you would like, you can begin this meditation with a little bit of movement, leaning forward and leaning back, kind of like you're rocking. And your movement could be large or it could be so small that someone looking at you wouldn't even notice that you're moving. Whatever feels right in your experience in your body right now. And as you're rocking, you might want to start to wiggle a little bit left and right. So coming out of the forward and back and moving side to side. And then you can stay there, or if you would like, begin to circle your spine, your shoulders, maybe even getting your head and neck into it. And we'll take about 3 more circles in this direction. Soften the jaw. Relax the eyes. And then if you're circling, circle the other way. Once again, your circles can be small or large. They could be really minute, or they could be really big. Move with your breath. And we'll take 3 more circles. And now coming to center, not to a perfect center or your center 5 years ago or what you think it should be, but just center right as it is, imperfect in this moment right now, rooted down into the earth, extending through your spine and lifting your crown up towards the sky. Taking your mountain stance, mountain seat. And I often think about how, despite all of the weather, the storms, the wind, the sun, the rain, mountains change, their faces change, but the mountain, it stays there. Strong, sturdy, rooted in the earth, and lifting towards the sky. And so you might call to mind an image of a mountain. And this could be a mountain that you have been to or visited. I live in, as I mentioned, on Seminole and Timucua land. There are not many mountains where I am. And so you might be imagining a mountain, visualizing it, making it up. And notice the strength, the solidity of this mountain that you're visualizing or imagining. And as you feel this mountain, notice too that you also have the qualities that this mountain has. You too are solid. You too are strong. You too are flexible, but grounded. And so if you would like, you can practice these phrases with your breath. Breathing in, I am a mountain. Breathing out, I am solid. In, mountain. Out, solid. Taking a moment to acknowledge your own solidity, the solidity of the earth beneath you. And a moment of silence for all those who have stewarded and cared for this earth and who are the rightful sovereign owners or stewards, caretakers of the land that you're on, but may not be the ones who get to make decisions about its care. And now turn your awareness towards your own heart, your own intentions for yourself first this evening or this day or this morning, wherever you are, whatever time zone. What is your intention with connecting with yoga? How does it serve you? How do you serve yoga? And then If you would like, you can bring your hands up to rest on your heart or to push your left and right hand into one another and have them meet at the heart center. Feeling gratitude in this moment for this practice that has been passed down for thousands of years, from teacher to student, from the early practitioners in South Asia, to come all the way here to you. And so see if you can cultivate a feeling of thanks. And sometimes this might be something we have to almost manufacture, have to put on, like, yeah, I'm grateful. And sometimes that feeling just wells up from deep in our core of like, wow, I cannot believe all of the things that had to happen for this practice that has brought me so much peace or so much ease or joy, has made it through the ages, through time, through colonization, to come here to be part of my life. So acknowledging the lineage, acknowledging your teachers, this path of practice, and yourself and future generations. And we will close this meditation with 3 sounds of Om. Ah, creation. U, preservation. Transformation. And the whole sound together, ah, oo, and is gone beyond time, space, form. And we'll chant 3 times. If you would like, please chant aloud with me if you can, where you are. And we'll take a full deep breath in and out first. On your next inhale, allow your attention to rest at the brow. So gently bringing yourself back, stretching, maybe like it's a new day or like you're a cat, yawning, and look around the room that you're in or the space that you're in, noticing 4 corners, so taking in one corner, then another corner. If you're in a round room, then just notice the different arcs, 3rd corner and 4th corner. And then we'll come back. And as we come back together, tune into your intention for being here, and also any questions that might be there on your heart or might be present for you around doing this work. Part of why the mountain came, I don't always plan meditations. I just kind of, sometimes I do, and I know what I'm going to do. but the mountain came through. And I think it's because what unplanned. I think it's because I was feeling, as we continue this work, as the book club ends, but we continue, is like, this is lifelong work, right? This is lifelong exploration. And so what are the tools, or what are the things that can nourish you, me, keep that stability so we can keep going, so we can keep doing it. So that was like an aha that came to me as I was guiding. But I'd love to hear from you all. We have a really nice intimate group tonight. So for anyone who feels inspired, I'd love to invite you to speak into the space. If you'd like to have your camera on, you're more than welcome. You can also keep it off always. I try to have decolonized Zoom etiquette, meaning I'm never going to force anyone to do anything, right? Like that's not how this space ever works. It's not how my teacher trainings work. You participate to the level that supports you in this moment. And so that includes, if you're here and you're like, I haven't read your book, I don't even know what you're talking about, that's great. So I'd love to open it up and hear if there was anything that came through in the meditation, or if there's anything on your mind or heart this evening or today.
I'll say something if no one else wants to jump in first. Hello, everyone. So nice to be here. And thank you, Susanna. That was so beautiful. And so I'm actually in Japan. I'm from around the New York area, but I now live in Japan. So it's morning here. So I woke up and just kind of had like a bit of an anxious, energized energy, and like my mind was like all over, things to do. So that was just very centering. And then I felt that that burst of gratitude come through, which was also very powerful. And then also I loved, I just loved the mountain analogy, and just started thinking, and we don't have to get into this now, maybe later, or, just something to think about, but just like how powerful, because I've been, I haven't finished your book. I just started it a few weeks ago, so I'm still like in the middle of it. But yeah, just starting to think of like, okay, what is it that on a bigger level, that I and all of us like really get from yoga? And then how are we communicating that in our like individual classes? And then today I was kind of like, and then thinking about, okay, like, because a lot of times yoga is taught in like gyms and things. And then it's like, oh, because it feels good, it's nice on my body, which is true. Like, of course, that's a component of it. But like, if really like the main heart of it is unity and bringing people together and making ourselves better to then go out into the world and be kinder and all of those kinds of things. Like, should it be taught in gyms? Like, are we missing the point? Or is it like you teach it in gyms and those kinds of places? Not while I'm picking on gyms, but like, and then kind of sneak in those ideas. So hopefully those people take it away. So that was just kind of something that I'm struggling with, and that came up during this, moment here. So just thought I would mention that. So thank you again.
Thank you. And that's so cool that you're in Japan and that you're waking up with us as my evening is winding down. That never ceases to amaze me, how we can be in like different days even. Like, are you waking up to my tomorrow? Is it Saturday for you?
Yes, it's Saturday morning. Yeah, I'm in the future. Yeah, it's so crazy.
Yeah. Anyone else who would like to speak into the space? Let's see, Kathy. My intention is to keep learning, evolving, so I can honor these practices and avoid perpetuating harm. Yeah, I feel you. I think that's probably something shared by many of us. I can't say all, but many of us also, and that's ahimsa, Kathy. That's ahimsa, non-harm. It's like, how can we deepen and deepen and deepen in non-harm? Yeah. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Bonnie. I'm just getting out of the shower and put my face on. Um, Something I've been learning as through reading your book and talking about it with a lot of yoga peeps and um, learning how to accept that I've been making mistakes. So it's been a good practice in like, probably shouldn't have been doing that, but here's how we're going to pivot and make it into something better. So I'm trying to take like the white guilt out of it or the shame out of it and just be like, I didn't know, and now I do, and now I'm going to do better. So I'm really grateful for your book in that way.
Thank you, Bonnie. And I love you sharing that, because what I notice, and I'm curious for other folks here, is where people get into trouble is when they feel that first moment of defensiveness, that like when I get corrected on something that's not so kind or something harmful I've done, and I'm like, oh no, I'm going to deny this so I don't have to feel the uncomfortability.
Yeah.
But when I'm able to just be like, oh, I'm sorry, that must have hurt, or that's terrible, but yeah, we're going to move this way now, we're going to try something different.
Yeah, or even just being brave enough to kind of stick to my guns in the way that I teach, because I have a lot of freedom in the way that I teach, which is awesome. Like the studio doesn't say like you have to do XYZ. But most teachers are not incorporating yoga philosophy. Most teachers are not starting and ending with meditation. Most teachers are not going there because of their own reasons. But I'm trying to stick to my guns and have that be what people experience, because that's also what has touched my life, is all the parts of it, not just get in, get out, get your workout on. So it seems like a disservice to treat yoga like a Pilates class, because it's not even close.
No.
So that's my little bit. My little bit.
Yeah. And what I love too, Bonnie, about what you said is, it's not a Pilates class, but the people that might find yoga in a gym, to Jess's point, they didn't know either that maybe that there was more, and how could they have? And so I think really sitting with like the grief sometimes, that like, wow, I can't believe these people have not realized or not been exposed to, but they haven't been. So all we can do now is move forward wherever it is that we're starting with, and with the people who want to go with us, and not the ones who don't. Ashley, I saw you said your YTT selected my book as required reading. That's amazing. Section 3 and the Indian independence movement. Do you want to talk about this? It sounds like, so your YTT is actually. Yeah.
I do want to talk about it. I am just so excited. So what I brought to the book club last night was your thoughts around, the amount of time that it took before British rule actually ending, meaning that our efforts are not going to be in vain. We might not see the fruits of our labor, right, in our lifetime. But the reason that I'm so excited is because I feel like our yoga community in the West, all of our yoga communities, are just on the precipice. Like we're right there. We're on the precipice of something so amazing. And even if we don't see, the fruits of our labor, I fully believe that the next generation or the generation after that will. So it's not in vain. So I literally wrote in the margins of your book on page 39, this is so inspiring. Yeah, I just feel like we're really we're getting somewhere. And I have not read the entire book yet, so I apologize.
No apologies needed, Ashley. My friend used to say, instead of apologizing, excuse me for partying. Like, let's celebrate all the partying that you've been doing rather than reading.
Okay, I love it. I love it. And to this end, Susanna and the collective, I can already tell that you're going to speak to designing classes that are culturally responsive, that are designed based on the humans that are showing up to our class, that are meeting their needs, that are not, cookie cutter and designed to meet the facilitator or the teacher's needs. And so I'm just really excited. I don't know if anyone else is, but I feel energized by what I've read so far. So thank you so much.
That's so great, Ashley. And thank you. Yeah, that's how I feel too. I feel like we're critical mass now. 2 years ago, 1 year ago, certainly 5 years ago, no one was having these conversations, and not in the yoga world, very little outside of that, other than in like social justice communities. And now it's mainstream to talk about who's left out, who's included, normative culture, white supremacy, and how we can utilize these tools of liberation, of revolution within and without, to create change. So because there's so many of us now having these conversations, and they're becoming more mainstream, and books like this, like Michelle Cassandra Johnson's Skill in Action, there's a few really great ones out there. They're like tipping the tide, and it's each one of us, right? None of us is doing this alone, and we are all doing it together, but it takes every single one of us in our communities, in our studios, in our classes, with our friends. And so that I get really excited too, Ashley. Yeah. Anyone else want to share? I wanted to read a little bit from nearer the end, but not the end. Anyone else though first? Okay. I feel like the part I picked is now rather abstract. So let me see, because I had, yeah. So the part, well, actually there's a section on part 3 in Liberation, how to structure an asana class to embrace yoga's roots, which is all about how to teach a class that both embraces the roots, but also acknowledges who's in the room, like who is there. And so, but I'm going to read actually some of the more abstract stuff a little earlier. So this is right at the beginning of the section 6, Liberation. And the quote is, "Of all the instruments of emancipation, love is supreme." Sri Adi Shankaracharya. That's part 1 of section 6, Yogis and Unity. The ideal is to live in the world in full awareness of life's unity. Eknath Easwaran. Inherent in the practice of yoga is the work of creating unity. Unity of the small self with the greater self. Unity of each individual with the greater whole. As we have discussed, yoga yuj, to yoke, is defined as unity. We move towards overcoming separation when we practice yoga as unity. We must lean back, embrace roots, and dismantle appropriation to move forward. As we embrace yoga's roots as well as our own, we are untangling the roots of colonization and empire, the intertwined causes of separation, such as all the isms, racism, sexism, ableism, etc., as ways to create inner and outer transformation. We can decolonize and embrace our practice by looking back to the roots and heart of yoga as we practice forward. There are specific tools for this that we can learn from the tradition itself. With yoga, unity is right here. It's always within. The beauty is that everyone can connect to it. We all have this within us. No one need be left out. It's available to all. Just ask, and yoga will speak to you. If we want yoga, we cannot run from what it means to truly practice yoga. Yoga is union. If we can breathe, we can do yoga. If we can feel, we represent liberation. And when we breathe together, we all get a little more free. Breathe in this future with me. Breathe out, and let's make it happen together. So, one of the things that I wanted to explore with you all tonight is, what does it look like to continue this work? What does it look like to keep going, to keep doing the work of embracing yoga's roots in your life in a concrete way? And for me, the answer to that is like, I talked about the mountain and like kind of stability and solidity, which is like the part that maybe is the struggle, but there's also the part that's super fun, right? That's super creative. And so I'm flipping back now to page 173, which is yogis and creativity. So this section, because the other way for me that I really can continue the work is my personal sadhana, my personal practice, and being creative. And art, creativity, expression, and personal exploration, going into my own cultural roots, my own creative roots. So I wanted to read this and then kind of have a little chat about how we will continue the work together. So yogis and creativity. Engaging in practicing yoga as liberation, avoiding appropriation, and acting for equity is inherently creative. As we do the work of embracing yoga as unity, it can also feel like creative play. We are sharing the tools of yoga so everyone can become free. We live yoga as unity, not denying our differences, but celebrating our unique humanity, practicing inclusion and diversity to achieve equity. Creativity is enlivened by commitment to action, and then keep doing it. Commit to and act on these truths. Your awareness is powerful when paired with action. Here's a few ways to bring creativity and action alive. Creativity comes alive in our daily actions. So literally, like when we're making tea, I didn't write this, I'm now ad-libbing, but when we're washing the dishes, right? It's like the simple actions that we do. Pay attention to them. Take small, consistent steps. Do not pigeonhole this work as an add-on to your practice. Allow radical inclusivity to be something you embody, something you are. Ask, what am I doing that may create more separation? Then, how can I embody inclusivity and union? You don't need to be perfect. Remember, perfectionism is a tool of white supremacy, and we are undoing white supremacy thinking. Though we are not aiming for perfection, we are aiming for endurance and consistency. You must try and fall and get up and try again. It's about embodying a kind of devotion to the heart of yoga, the heart of our practice. Creativity in our practice involves tuning into our own ancestral lineage, listening deeply to the stirrings, calls, and questions that arise within, giving time, space, and voice to ancestral wisdom. We each have lineages. We each have stories of resilience and suffering in our lines. We can learn from these stories, felt, intuited, researched, as well as told. Creativity is going within our own experience so deeply that we bring alive the authentic and sacred parts of ourselves. And so I really, really love this part. I come back to it often as the alternative to appropriation and really as like the joy, embodying and embracing yoga's roots is like, it's so joyful. It's such a joyful thing. It feels good. It's enlivening. It's exciting. I think sometimes people think that it can be, it's almost like being the PC police or something, but it's totally not like that, right? It's more like, what is bringing me alive? What is connecting me? And so right now, I'll just share my own experience. My son, who is 8, he's been really enthralled as, a non-Black person living in the United States with understanding the story and the history of slavery and of Harriet Tubman and the Underground. Sorry, I got muted. He's connecting from the, did you hear me say about my kiddo who's like excited about Harriet Tubman? He's connecting from the perspective of completely seeing himself in the lineage of abolitionists, of like, this is something that I don't agree with. You know, I think kids sometimes understand that past, present, future, like they're not separate. And so for him, it's like, it's alive, it's happening now. And so he's so creative about the ways that he wants to engage abolition and what abolition can look like, and really like excited about learning about Harriet Tubman and everything she did and her bravery and all the different ways that she stood up to oppression and tried to bring liberation and freedom for as many Black people as possible. So to me, that is such an inspiring and creative way to practice yoga in action, to practice ahimsa through getting curious and then learning and exploring and taking action, which he's doing, which I'll share about another time, because that's a little bit off topic. But I want to invite in your voices now, like questions that you might have, ways that you could see yourself continuing this work. And we'll circle back around to the gym question, but I first want to hear from you all.
I think I can go. Hi.
Hi, Marge.
So I guess with the meditation, the mountain was really great for me because it's been a really rough week. And I've been kind of struggling. I've been extremely emotional. This is very transformational for me. So the mountain is great because I live by a mountain. I look at my mountain every day. And in that meditation, I was just picturing my own mountain because I use it for strength, right? And so it's perfect circling back. And then in your book, your ending meditation, I loved, and I feel like that's going to ground me. So I kind of feel like that's kind of my mountain too. So it's all kind of full circle because it's all this mountain, your impromptu mountain, really, really connected to me, full circle, beginning and end. So yeah, it's been a rough week as far as the work I'm going to do. I told you, Susanna, that I left the teacher training on Saturday. Kind of tried to peacefully battle all week my colleagues about this Dr. Seuss stuff. That was really emotional. And I don't know now, but I did get good news this week from my district. They confirmed that they're committing to the social justice task force that I've been pushing them to do. So I'm a total rookie though. This is totally new to me. I'm not part of the yoga world. I've done yoga by myself at home for years now. So I didn't know of the 8 limbs. So now I'm here and learning. So I need I guess know-how. So it's like you said, lifelong work. So I did find a course at Off the Mat. I'm doing the social justice course there. We actually have a mutual friend there, so that's cool. So yes, it's a lot. I don't know. And now I've kind of lost my own yoga practice. I don't know where I am anymore. So yeah, it's a very emotional time. So sorry to ramble.
No, I so feel you, and I can tell other folks are feeling you too, Marge. It can be really lonely, you know, especially until we get and gather the folks around us who have similar values and do the work. And especially when we're new at doing it, I think it can feel very isolating and like, what? Why are you reading racist books, right? Like that just doesn't make any sense. And everyone else is like, but they're good books. And you're like, no, that's not the point. You know, that doesn't, so that can feel so challenging. And so just coming back to and sending you the fortitude of the mountain and the knowledge that the people are around you, they already are here, like in your course, and like the mutual friend who I'm so curious, you'll have to let me know who that is.
I need that.
Yeah. And that the more you turn towards it, kind of the more that community will come. So to have that faith, for me, one of the practices I do, just to speak to this for a second, is like just today I talked to a South Asian sister, and I say sister because she's cisgendered, on the phone for an hour because she needed support. But you know what? It was supportive to me too, because having the ability to have that is not something I've always had. I didn't grow up with, other than my family in Los Angeles, a lot of South Asian friends, right? That just wasn't part of my life. And so now I'm like, yes, I am intentionally going to turn towards the people who share the same values, uplift them, receive the uplift when it's time, and so that can be a conscious choice, but it also can be something we move towards. And the ache of when it's not there for me is like how much I really love it and how much I really want it. And I try to rest personally in trust that it will come if I'm not having it, I'm not feeling it in the moment. Yeah. Thank you, Marge.
Mhm.
And congratulations. That's huge too, on like taking action on your values.
Thank you. It came from a negative place, but it's proving to be good. So that's good.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm Anjali. And so a lot of my exploration with this work has been a really cool dive into like the intersectionality of my personal identity.
Mm.
I am South Asian, but I was born in America. So I've always had this really interesting kind of push and pull between like what is my cultural identity. I don't know if you have ever heard the term third culture kid, but you don't really fit in this culture. You don't fit in this culture. You're like this whole other culture yourself. And I've been finding it really interesting that like I've been diving into spaces like this that really help me understand why I've been feeling just uncomfortable in certain yoga spaces.
Mm.
But at the same time, I've also been leaning into other affinity spaces that are more focused on other groups, other black, like Black and Brown communities mainly, who are a lot more marginalized in America. And it's been a really cool experience for me to see, like, I do recognize that I have a lot of privilege, and I really don't think I faced a lot of oppression in my life. And I'm seeing that there are these other spaces that, their struggle isn't necessarily with the roots of yoga, but yoga is also not inclusive to them.
Mm.
And it's been a really cool journey that like I have to kind of like battle my own discomfort with recognizing the role that I play as a fairly privileged person in America in that space, while also dismantling, like, speaking up for what I have experienced as a South Asian person in the yoga world. So I think it's been a really cool like push and pull. I kind of get these like two sides to explore. And I feel like going forwards for me, a lot of work is kind of leaning into that feeling I feel inside. And also fighting for other groups that, also really feel just not supported by a lot of yoga communities, especially when it comes to being able-bodied, or when it comes to terminology, or when it comes to financials. Yeah, I think going forwards, my goal is to really like expand in both directions and get comfortable enough in my own journey that I can support those other journeys.
Thank you so much, Anjali. That's so powerful. And while you were talking, I'm going to just share my screen really quick because I love doing stuff like this, and I'm a teacher. So this wheel, right? I don't know if you've seen this. I shared this recently. This is actually drawn by Sylvia Duckworth. But the concepts in it are concepts from racial justice work, which says, if this is power, right, and we're taking race or skin color, like myself, I'd be close to here, right, somewhat closer to white. I'm lighter skin, but there are many folks out here who have less privilege than me. And so the importance of acknowledging both marginalization and privilege is that wherever I have privilege, I can use it to uplift, right? And what's really powerful, let me see. I don't remember exactly where. Do I have it here? Yes. So what's so powerful is, and this is in the book, I think, someone who's, it's really funny to not remember. I'm pretty sure this is in the book. But the 3 types of power, yeah, it is all of that, right, on the wheel, power that is used in discriminatory and oppressive ways, like you're talking, gender discrimination or discrimination based on privilege, like class privilege or heteronormativity, all of those kinds of things, is based in domination and control. And a lot of our systems, right, healthcare, all of that upholds these power over structures. And then you've got power with, which is power that kind of like what you're talking about, shared with people in struggles for liberation and equality. And we can share with others and it liberates ourselves as well. And then finally, power within. And this comes from originally Riane Eisler. Riane Eisler is a sociologist, her work. But power within is yogic power, right? It's power that exists deep inside of you. It cannot be given and it cannot be taken away. And this is the power that fueled Nelson Mandela, despite all, to say, I don't hate my jailers, even though I was in prison for all those years. It's the power that inspired the Gandhians, all of the nonviolent, activists in India. It's the power that inspires us when we stand up, even when it's uncomfortable or hard or challenging or when our voice shakes. And so what I love about what you shared, Anjali, is it's like exactly you're describing this power within that helps us be with others to challenge these systems. So that intersectional identity, looking back at, where did my... No, the wheel's back here, sorry. So looking back, this is my presentation that I use in my YTTs on cultural appropriation, power and privilege, right? So, so it's so powerful because actually what we're learning is that by using that inner power to stand up to because there's nothing wrong with being any of these things, right? Close to power. But it's just that if we're not using our privilege to bring equity to folks who don't have systemic power, we actually don't experience as much freedom, joy, happiness as when we do use our power to support and uplift others. So that's a long way of saying, yeah, that's really exciting. Oh, and we're almost out of time. How does the time go so quickly? So I wanted to just close in a moment, but first, before I do, I want to address yoga and gyms. I always say, don't do or say something just because I told you to, right? Like, sure, I wrote a book, sure, I have lots of opinions and I will tell you my opinion, but really about yoga and gyms, really you have to do your own exploration and decide for yourself. That's what this work is here for, is critical thinking, and it's for you to go out and to share the heart of yoga with your communities. So with that said, when I was raised with yogic practices. My father would teach me meditations when I couldn't fall asleep. My, aunts and uncles would share Ayurvedic or yogic wisdom, like if I was sick or if I was stressed out, but I didn't really think of myself as practicing yoga. And then I was in college, really having a tough time, a lot of anxiety at that time in my life. And I stumbled into a gym, like YMCA yoga class I was taking African dance, and the yoga was right after. And so I stayed for the yoga class. And it was one of those gem teachers who was just so unassuming, who brought in yoga philosophy. And this was like I'm going to date myself. Well, it's almost my birthday. I'll tell you how old I am. I think it was probably 1996, 1995 or 1996, so a long time ago. And they were using inclusive cues, right? That teacher, they were like, if it feels comfortable, if you would like, they were saying all those kinds of things. And I remember being in Balasana, and they said, instead of doing another flow, you can stay right there in Balasana in child's pose, and just crying because I finally felt at home. And I had not felt at home in my own body and my own mind and experience for so long. And so that teacher changed my life. And they were a gym yoga teacher. They changed my life because they managed to weave in the philosophy and also cue in a way that made me kind of come home to myself. So I really personally believe in the power of gym yoga, because we might not know who is in that room and who are going to touch, or who that teacher is going to touch. When we're able to teach, if we feel in that position, we're able to teach in a way that's in alignment with our values. I've also been a teacher in studios where I wasn't able to teach in alignment with my values, where they said no chanting, no Sanskrit, no yoga ethics, just workout. And that wasn't a right alignment or fit for me. So I left those spaces. So yeah, it's, for me, it's not an absolute, but I wouldn't fully give up. And I would just personally try to weave in the yoga philosophy. Yeah. I'm curious. Okay. 1 minute left. I like to honor y'all's time. Yeah, permissions, invitations, trauma-informed teaching is where it's at. Yes. And I will say, just because we're opening enrollment for my YTT 300-hour Monday, which is, if anyone's interested, I think, let me see if I can grab the link. It's a pretty special experience that goes into teaching in this way. So if you know anyone that's looking for this kind of deeper training, you don't have to have had a 200-hour training to do a 300-hour training, because what does that even mean, right? Like, we start at the beginning. Oh, thank you so much for dropping that in. So I'm excited for that, because for me, part of how I'm taking the work forward is always learning, and learning to be a deeper and better teacher, and a teacher that supports people in bringing the heart of yoga to wherever they are, in gyms or in community centers or on Zoom, wherever it is. So as we close, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here this evening, and thank you for celebrating with me. It's like, I can't believe that in this last year, I wrote a book. I mean, actually it was like 2.5 years, but it came out last year. So I am turning 44 on Sunday. I'm very excited about that. And I'm excited to just continue to be in nature. And the other thing that I haven't shared with anyone else that I'll share with you all is I am also writing a new book that is on exactly what you were talking about. A couple of you have brought up, which is what Ashley spoke to even more, because in the end of this book, I do talk about how to teach in ways that honor and respect people, and that honor and respect the practice. But not like I barely touched on it. It's in like one section, couple sections. So I want to go even more in depth. So I'm really excited for that. And that's going to come out, I believe, in 2022 or 2023. So I'm excited to be celebrating this chapter and then inviting in that new creative chapter with you all, and for all of the ways that each of you gets to embrace and honor and live yoga's roots. So we'll close. I like to play music. So you don't have to dance or everything, but we'll just close with a little bit of music, and you can head out. Oops. Now let me play a different song. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, here we go. And then you can just say goodbye when you're ready. You can pop off. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Bye all.
Happy birthday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.